Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib, and we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 8:30 tonight. We'll see what happens. Tonight, we're going to talk about the big fight coming up. Leo Santa Cruz, Gervonta Davis, the biggest fight of the weekend. Another possible 2020 fight of the year. Who knows, man? Tyson Fury, we're going to talk about him. He said he's returning December 5th. We're also going to talk about Lomachenko and Lopez and the ratings on this guy. This did a monster rating. Just an insane rating, man. So there we go. Let's see here. Let's start it off first with DAZN. Juan Francisco Estrada versus Carlos Cuadras for the WBC Super Flyweight title. Juan Francisco Estrada wins via 11th round TKO over Carlos Cuadras. Let me tell you what, man, this was a good fight. Listen, Carlos Cuadras was trying in this fight, and I've never really seen him look like this, where he was like, he looked to me like he was just roughed up the fight in the entire fight, man. It almost seemed like he was connecting with really good shots, but I'm telling you right now, every time he connected with a good shot, it was almost returned instantly by Estrada. I mean, it was almost countered like that. You know, Cuadras took a lot of clean shots here. He took a beating over the 11 rounds. He really did. The end came in the 11th round when Cuadras was knocked down twice. The referee stopped it with about 30 seconds left in the round. I think the whole thing in the 11th round was it was like a big right hook that set it up from the outside, like an outside right hook. It was really something to see. I mean, he caught him clean right on the jaw. It's beyond me, and Beeb, I know you watch this too, and it's beyond me why the ref let this go on after that first knockdown. That first knockdown, and then to let it go on and let him get knocked down again. But then he got up, and then it was just like, are you kidding me? You know, to me, it was way, way too much. He could have really been hurt in that 11th round. After the fight, Estrada could be the long-awaited rematch with Chocolatito. Beeb, what were your thoughts on that fight?
Well, before we get started, I just want to thank Team Lopez sending me this.
Oh my God! I almost got one of those shirts this week.
Sending me this takeover shirt. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Teofimo Lopez Sr. for sending me this shirt. So
I almost got that shirt this week, man. That's so great.
So I want to thank Team Lopez for that. You know what this fight was? Cuadras, you could argue, the faster guy, the more athletic guy, the flashier guy. Guy moved a lot of movement. But here's the thing. You had a guy in there that was more precision, more precise, more precision. Like the saying that I like to use, gets a lot out of doing a little. So, subtle moves, able to cut the ring off. Cuadras throwing wider shots. Estrada punching inside those combinations. You notice a lot of up and unders, So this was a guy who had the technique to offset the athleticism. Whereas last week, you had both guys were athletic. You could argue one guy may have been more athletic than the other, more physically gifted with speed. But both guys were technically sound as well. But just one guy was faster last week, and he had the technical abilities to go along with it. Cuadras didn't have that same skill set, or doesn't have that same skill set as Estrada does. Estrada is a guy who makes those little, oh shoot, my headphone just popped off. Who makes those little subtle moves, knows how to, punch inside those wide shots, timing, and just cut the ring off. So he let Cuadras come to him, and he just kind of met him right there. And as soon as Cuadras started firing, he shot up underneath and was really going well to the, throwing good body shots. So Quadras was able to land maybe one good shot in sequence, but because you had a guy, the precision, who threw shorter shots, he was able to get more punches off because he shortened up his shots and he placed them better than Quadras, because Quadras was really wide with a lot of things and he was kind of swinging for the fences with a lot of his shots, whereas Estrada fought more poised, more relaxed, and just picked them apart with the combination punching. So, and I think he was actually doing more damage because he was able to land more when Quadras was only able to land one shot at a time mostly. So I think technique and precision won out over possibly a quicker, more athletic Quadras.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. I think that's the overall. I mean, he was just a better fighter, and like I said, man, he would pop. I mean, he would. He had some pop, and he hit him flush a few times, man, like flush. But as soon as he did, it was almost automatically returned.
But the problem was he couldn't hit him. He couldn't hit him with combinations. He can only land one shot at a time.
It was one and done. That was
because again, Estrada, once he got hit, he would roll it and then he would come back, boom, 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 boom. So you had one shot being with the return fire of 3 or 4,
right?
And they were it was more of a variety of shots going body, coming boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Just
before we talk about what's next for Estrada with Chocolatito, let's talk about the Chocolatito fight. Chocolatito Gonzalez versus Israel Gonzalez for the WBA super flyweight title. Chocolatito wins via unanimous decision over Israel Gonzalez by the scores of 118 to 110, 116, 112, and 117, 111. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but it's all good. Chocolatito, listen, man, Chocolatito won this fight, okay? And he received a lot of praise for it online. Everybody, Chocolatito it's going to be a great fight with Estrada, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody seems to be looking forward to the rematch with Estrada. But am I the only one that thinks Chocolatito got hit way too many times in that fight? Flush way too many times?
No, you're not, because here's the thing.
I mean,
when he was getting hit, he was getting pushed back, and his head was getting snapped back and stuff.
Yes.
So again, with all due respect, that's an issue of reflexes. It's one thing when you're getting hit, but you're kind of bracing for the shot.
Yeah.
You're rolling with the shot. But when your reflexes are starting to decline a little bit, that's when the head's like, well, because you're so far behind in timing the punch that's what makes you get staggered back and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So the kid Gonzalez made a good account of himself.
Yes. Israel. Yeah. Israel.
Yeah. Made a good account of himself. Made a real good account of himself. And he hit him with some clean shots. Problem was the kid wasn't an exceptionally hard puncher. And Chocolatito was he just hit harder.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got
offensively, here's the thing, Eric. Offensively, Chocolatito's still pretty sound. Yeah. It's his defensive reflexes that are really starting to decline. So
that ain't good.
And that's what usually happens.
That ain't good. Yeah.
That's what usually go. They say your legs go first, and pretty much your reflexes go along with the legs.
Yeah.
Offense is probably the last thing to go. As they say, the last thing to go is your punch, correct?
Yes.
So it's easier to maintain your offensive abilities as you get older, depending upon the style of fighter you are, because he's more of another guy that does a lot of subtle movement, cuts the ring off, boom, boom, boom. But again, he's not able to slip these shots like he used to. He's not able to roll these shots like he used to. He's not able to get up and underneath these shots like he used to, because again, those reflexes are starting to decline a little bit. And that's where I think you're 100% correct. I'm in 100% agreement with you, because when I'm watching him getting hit like that, I'm saying if he's in there with someone else that's better, a more seasoned guy, if he's in there with an Estrada and Estrada is allowed to hit him that flush, and the way Estrada can put shots together and the way he just is just such a solid puncher, I think that's going to be problematic for him. I think Estrada beats him.
I think Estrada walks him.
Because Estrada
I don't even think it's close. I don't even think that fight's close, man.
Yeah, I think Estrada may knock him out.
I think so too.
I would pick Estrada to knock him out.
So I'm looking at Israel Gonzalez. His losses to Cal Yafai, Jerwin Anacahas, and he lost one a little bit earlier in his career. So listen, man, I mean, you know, it's not like he was in there with a who's who last night.
Here's the thing, Eric, and I think we're in agreement with this. It's a fight. You're going to get hit.
Sure.
No one's expecting this kid to rock you, though. This kid's not supposed to rock you. He's not supposed to push you back on your heels. He's not supposed to hurt you.
No.
And Chocolatito was stunned and hurt on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a sign of concern because, as you said, this kid was not a who's who type of opponent.
Right.
Wasn't a huge puncher. He was very green and very young. Okay? No one's perfect. It's a fight. You're going to get hit.
Right.
But you're not supposed to get hit like you got hit with a guy like this who's in front of you. And I say that with all the respect because the kid brought it. This was a
very good job.
This was a great learning experience for the kid. This is a confidence builder for the kid.
Yeah.
He can walk away from this with his head held high. But if I'm in Chocolatito's camp, I'm saying to myself, wow, what if Estrada hits him like that?
And Estrada's going to hit him.
Yeah.
Estrada's going to hit him a lot.
So I think you make very good points.
And Estrada's got power.
Because it's not a good thing when you see a guy's head go like that, like the whiplash of when you see a guy get hit and the whiplash effect.
And that happened on more than one occasion the other night.
Yeah, so that's
not good, man. And you can call me a Chocolatito hater. I said he was washed after that Rungvisai fight, that second one where he got KO'd. I thought he was washed after that.
He's not washed, but he's
definitely
very close to getting. He's on his way to getting there. In other words,
yes,
he's not too many steps away from getting there. He's got 1 foot kind of out the door.
Yeah, and JC said Chocolatito's lost something since Rungvisai. I 100% agree.
There's no question about it.
He's never been the same fighter after that.
No question about it.
And this one, I mean, like I said, man, this is a dangerous fight for him. The one with Estrada is a dangerous fight for him.
Estrada he's getting better, bro.
He really is. And you don't see that.
Better, bro. And
you look at guys like Bernard Hopkins who gets better and like guys like Estrada who get better. Yeah. And that doesn't happen a lot. It's odd. It really is, man.
Because Estrada is one of those dudes where he can counter punch you. He can get inside and get in the phone booth with you and grind it out with you. This guy's got a lot of wrinkles to his game. He's a solid fighter. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I think you've criticized the zone this year, and I've been very critical of the zone. Yeah. This was a solid card from them. I would have to agree. Would you not?
A very, very solid card.
This was a good card, right?
I saw some people saying it was the card of the year, and at the zone it was worth the $99 and this and that. I wouldn't go that far. No. It was a good card. It was a good card.
Well, again, this would never have been they promised you pay-per-view fights. They haven't given you it's not a pay-per-view fight.
No, this was like an HBO fight. These were the fights that were on HBO before HBO tanked. So
well, again, if this was if these fighters were on PBC, they'd be on Fox.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't even have to pay a subscription to watch them.
Right. Exactly. Or they would be on Fox Sports. Who knows?
Whatever. Yeah.
It's funny because, I look at the competition here and everybody was like I said, they were way over on Chocolatito, so high on Chocolatito, but look at the main event. I mean, Carlos Cuadras is not exactly a pushover.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And I think at this stage, Carlos Cuadras might be able to beat Chocolatito. I know he can beat Israel Gonzalez. Carlos Cuadras is a good fighter. That was a top level fight.
Yeah.
And Estrada just walked him.
Yeah. Plus, Cuadras had the coronavirus too for a little while there. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had the coronavirus, and I guess he recovered from it. So I don't know if that had any effect on him because he had a quarantine for a little bit or whatever.
Who knows, man? Who knows? You know, and I was told that like when you lose like your taste and smell, and that's one of the, could be one of the symptoms or whatever. That's like a neurological thing. That's not like, and so even if you recover, like who knows like the long-term effects of what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on in the chat. Yeah, Nacho apparently really likes Chocolatito. He said that at 33 he beat a guy almost a decade younger rather easily. I get it, but he was supposed to win.
Once Nacho likes somebody, it's just that's what it is, man. It's just what it is. He just rolls with certain guys, man, and it is what it is. There's no strain him otherwise. You know what? I'm not even going to try to debate him on this one because I just know he's just so.
He's going to ride with him.
I mean, it is what it is when it comes to Nacho.
Low Blow Champ says Estrada is like the modern day Marquez. Yeah, he kind of is. I mean, it's rare that you see a fighter get better, but I'm seeing him get better.
Nacho, Team Lopez sent me this shirt. You want me to call them up and see? If they can send you one too? Promise me you won't use it to wash your car.
Nacho doesn't like Teofimo.
He hates Teofimo.
I don't understand that. Julio Cesar Martinez versus Moises Calleros. Calleros was a late sub, and he got a lot of flack for coming in 5.5 pounds overweight, which I get it, but listen, I mean, I don't know where they picked him up at, listen, 5.5 pounds over. I mean, what are you going to, how much time, but I wonder how much time he actually had, I'm wondering how much time he actually had before, what I mean? But to learn about the fight and get in shape and everything like that. I don't know. 5.5 pounds is a lot. Listen, at the end of the day, he could have weighed 20 pounds over. It wasn't going to matter. Martinez wins via second round TKO. He just demolished this guy. He was a late sub and it took a lot to get in there, but ultimately at the end of the day, it didn't really help him out too much. It is what it is.
These guys in the chat are really, really hurt that you said that Gonzalez is slipping. It happens to the best of. It happens to everybody.
Slipping, man.
You can't stay on top forever.
He's slipping, man. Look, I know you guys like him.
What do you think?
I get it. He's a fan favorite. I get it, man.
Guys got to just accept when guys
slipping, son. He's not the same fighter. He's going to get demolished by Estrada. He doesn't. I'll go on record right now. He does not have a shot against Estrada. When
my favorite fighter of all time, Sugar Ray Leonard, when he signed to fight Terry Norris, I said that was a bad move.
Yeah.
Right? Another wrong place, wrong time against the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that Sugar Ray Leonard's not great. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
I got to deal with reality. Even I had to let go of I can't because I love the guy. I can't say that he was going to win the fight. It was a good fight for him. Jesus, guys, you guys just got to. Oh my God, you got to stop.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean,
listen, deal with it. You just got to deal with it. The guy got a lot of miles on him. He's been in some tough fights. He's not going to be able to last forever. That's it. That's all.
And like these fighters, like. I don't know. I mean, that's what the business is. Steve Kim had the best line ever. He said, in boxing, they don't give you a 401k. They hand out beatings instead. They don't give you retirement checks. They don't. And he's right. And he's 100% right. It never has a happy ending in boxing. Never.
It doesn't.
It just if you're looking for Cinderella, you're in the wrong place.
There's very few people exit the sport of boxing like Floyd, like Andre Ward.
Even Floyd. Okay, even Floyd. He's fighting like what, 3 rounds with tension? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really want to see like your guy do that?
No.
I don't want to see that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, what do? You need money? What? You're over there flashing Rolexes, but you're fighting tension for like $3 million or $9 million, whatever it was.
I heard Nacho took the over in that fight too. He
He
thought it was,
lost that one too.
he thought it was Nacho thought that was going to go the distance.
That's funny, man. All right, so let's talk about the Showtime card, the PBC here. I'm gonna get one of those shirts. I was gonna get one earlier in the week, and just didn't for whatever reason. You know,
I'll call up Team Lopez for you. Don't worry about it.
Call up Team Lopez for me. Yeah, get me one of those, will you?
All the haters in the chat.
The haters.
Floyd is exactly like Beeb. Can't stand it. The other guy's shy.
Floyd
that was a good one, Notch. I got to give you that one. I bring out the best in Notch. Notch comes sharpened up for me when he.
I like when Nacho comes on sharpened up. You know what I mean?
He's
I like
sharpened
when he has
up.
an edge to him.
He's sharpened up when he steps to the Beeb.
I like it when he has an edge on him.
That was a good one. I like that one.
That was good.
Give you a point for that one.
Sergey Lipinets versus Castillo Clayton. Castillo's from Ohio. I didn't know this. I got to rely on Ohio Runs Boxing to let me know. All these guys that come from Ohio, man, like it's unbelievable. It really is when you think about it. Like how many fighters and trainers and everything else that comes from Ohio. Like my goodness, man. Let me tell you what. Okay, so I'll be real curious because I haven't talked to Beeb about this fight, but Beeb and I have been discussing bad scorecards like the entire week. All right. And I think this was a bad score. I really do. The fight was called a draw, but to be honest, man, after I'm watching this, I didn't score the fight. So full disclosure, I didn't score the fight, but I watched the fight. I thought that Lipinets won at least 9 rounds here, man. I thought he was the aggressor throughout. I thought that Clayton landed good shots, but I thought they were a little bit few and far between. I thought that Clayton didn't press the action. He was content to sit there and counter, but he didn't land solid like all that often. And I mean, I thought the first, like I said, man, it was like when I watched this fight, to me, Lipinets was the aggressor, but more than that, he was the effective aggressor. He was landing shots. He was putting in work. Beeb, how did you score this fight?
You're going to be shocked. This is going to be an interesting conversation.
All right.
I had it 115 and 113 for Clayton.
You had Clayton winning the fight.
And I'll tell you,
okay.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Everything you just said was 100% correct.
Yes.
For the first 6 rounds.
Okay.
And I thought second half of the fight was totally different because in the second half of the fight, I thought Lipinets was moving forward. He was the aggressor, but he was walking into clean shots. I thought Clayton started landing clean shots the second half of the fight. First half of the fight, he wasn't. I thought Clayton landed some good body shots. I thought he was able to fight. He was backing up, but he was circling. So he was keeping himself in range to land the counters. So in the first half of the fight, he was being forced back. In the second half of the fight, he was moving back because he was letting Lipinets come to him, but he was starting to get a feel for the timing of Lipinets as he was coming forward. Lipinets was starting to throw wider shots. He was starting to load up a little bit. He was getting a little bit over anxious. And I think he was getting a little bit too aggressive for his own good. And I think Clayton maintained his poise, and I thought he was countering much better in the second half of the fight. I gave him rounds 7 through 12, and I only gave him 1 round out of the first 6, but I gave him round 7 through 12, to be honest with you. Well, and I have to also say this. This was one of the hardest fights ever to score because you had one guy coming forward. Mm-hmm. He was landing, but then you had but the other guy was moving backward and circling, and he was landing. So your scorecard is not really bad. It's not at all. It's your scorecard is plausible, but I just saw it a different way, to be honest with you. Because as I was watching some of these rounds, I was saying to myself, I think Clayton won them, but I could see them swinging the other way. Steve Farhard scored at 115 and 113 as well for Clayton. One of the judges scored at 115 and 113 for Clayton, but the other two judges had a draw. So when I was watching the first 6 rounds, I was saying to myself, everyone said this fight was close. What are you talking about?
That's what, yeah. And
then the second half, because I actually watched this today. I didn't watch it yesterday. So I watched the first half and I was saying, everyone said this fight was close. How could they say this fight was close? Lipinets is dictating this whole fight. The other guy's just being pushed back, doing nothing. Then the second half came.
So you had him winning the first 6 rounds, or you had like one round?
I gave 1 round to Clayton in the first 6.
I gotcha. Okay.
And maybe that round I gave Clayton could have easily been flipped to Lipinets. It wasn't like he dominated. I gave him the 4th round, and it wasn't like he dominated that 4th round. So I very well could have had it a draw too. But I just thought that Clayton did much better in the second half. So I had it 115 and 113 for Clayton.
Yeah, for me, I tell you what, for me, he was coming forward, he was landing those shots, and the shots that Clayton had, to me, they were kind of few and far between. When he would do like he would land a combination, but then do nothing for the rest of the round. You know what I mean? And that was the way I saw it.
Here's the problem. And this is a dilemma in scoring.
Yeah.
This is a one dilemma. So one guy in Lipinets is coming forward. He's the aggressor. He's throwing punches. They may land, but they're not landing flush. A lot of times they were landing like top of the head, partially blocked. But every time Clayton landed, he landed clean. He was snapped Lipinets' head back. So
he landed clean shots, no question.
So this is the dilemma in scoring you have. So you have one guy landing maybe 3 shots, but they're not all clean. They're partially blocked, or they're kind of top of the head grazing, but they're still landing. They're scoring shots. You have to score them. But then you have one guy landing 1 shot that's clean and going like this. What's the dilemma there is, what do you like better? Who do you give the benefit of the doubt to? Some people may say, well, the guy that landed the 3 shots maybe not as clean, but it was more. So does that one punch, nullify those or take away the effectiveness or outweigh those other 3 shots that maybe weren't as clean? That was the same situation when Bernard Hopkins fought Joe Calzaghe. Some people gave that fight to Bernard Hopkins because they thought his punches were cleaner. I just thought, but see, Calzaghe, to me, Calzaghe's volume thing. His volume was just so much more than Hopkins's. You know what I mean? Here you could argue, maybe the volume did favor Lipinets, but it wasn't a huge disparity. Whereas in the Hopkins fight with Calzaghe, you could argue that Hopkins may have landed cleaner shots than Calzaghe, or more effective shots. But Calzaghe's volume was just so much greater than Hopkins's. Then you couldn't make an argument. But I thought Clayton won this fight. I had him winning this fight.
Let me see here. CompuBox. Clayton had a superior jabs, blah blah blah. I just want the.
I didn't even check the punch stats, but it just looked.
That's what I'm looking at.
It looked to me like Lipinets threw a lot more punches.
Yeah, it did to me too. But sometimes, like I said, you think you're looking at one thing and you're not. You know what I mean? Doesn't really have. Let's see here. Lipinets outlanded Clayton to the body 80-29, while Clayton had the superior jab to the tune of 135 landed compared to 68 from Lipinets.
What were the final punch stats?
Let's see here. Didn't say.
Total punches are usually at the top.
Let's see. This was just like in an article.
Let me do if you just do a search for punch stats.
Yeah, that's what I did. Punch stat.
Oh, it didn't come up. Okay.
No.
Maybe it didn't come up. Sometimes it comes up.
Or let me do CompuBox because I think that's what they were. Doing here.
Yeah, they use CompuBox for that. I'd be curious. again, I don't use CompuBox as the end all, but sometimes I just like to.
Well, I think
see,
in this case, it would be.
yeah, I like to see if what I think I saw, they saw. I like to compare my perspective and analysis to their perspective.
Because I would like to see total punches and everything.
Yeah,
like, let me go to CompuBox and see, because typically they don't, and I don't understand that why they don't have their stuff posted. CompuBox on Twitter. Okay, let me see here, because I think we're going to get it. Bear with me here.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Be very interesting.
Here
Georgie,
okay,
Georgie, you're 100% correct. I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with Georgie.
Yeah, we get it, but I'm interested in this.
You're right, but sometimes you just like to see if what you saw, they kind of reflects on what they saw. I just like to compare. It's just basically comparing opinions. That's all, Georgie. It's not, again.
Well, and once again, man, I tell you what, I stand corrected here. Lipinets landed 175 total punches landed. Clayton landed 247.
Okay.
Wow.
So
he threw 610. Lipinets threw 610. Now Clayton threw 687. So he threw more and he landed more. Yeah. What were the let's see here. And the judges, one of them gave him to Clayton, the other two gave him a draw.
Yeah. So
well, hey man,
so it wasn't
sometimes again, you think you're seeing one thing and you're actually seeing another. Who knows?
And again, we can't discredit what they say. I mean, it's But last week, I don't think there was an argument. Like Lopez was throwing it was very obvious Lopez was throwing a shit ton more punches than Lomachenko.
Yeah, no. I think that's a different animal right there. Yeah. I think that's a different animal.
But see, here's the thing: let's
talk about that, because you brought up Lopez. And by the way,
let me just finish this one point. I think when a guy's backing up as opposed to a guy moving forward, the perception is maybe he's just throwing more because he's moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
So that could have affected our perception.
Absolutely. But let's talk about this, because before we go on to the upcoming fights and do the previews and everything like that, let's talk about this for a minute. You've been doing videos all week on this, and it's something you feel really strongly about. And I want to try to get to the bottom of it on why you feel this way. So all week, you've been real critical of anybody who has a different scorecard of like Teddy Atlas. I know you said maybe Dougie Fisher. I don't know, but there's a bunch of them that had like different scorecards and everything like that. And some of them, and nobody had to a man Lomachenko winning that fight. I don't know of anybody that had Lomachenko winning that fight, except for maybe Georgie. But barring that, though, what was your issue with this?
Well, the videos were basically a spoof for the Lomachenko fans, just to kind of razz them a little bit. My biggest problem, honestly, is with Teddy Atlas, and I'll explain. And I'll explain why. Because Teddy Atlas, whether he deserves it or not, is kind of like a spokesman for boxing. A lot of people look at Teddy Atlas as an authority on the sport of boxing. And one ironic thing I found is all the people on YouTube, when asked about this fight, was pretty much split down the middle. But the mainstream boxing media, it was like I could not find one person that picked Lopez to win. Right?
No, very few. There were some, but very few.
I could not find any, but there probably was. I'm not saying there wasn't.
Yeah.
My big problem with this whole thing was, again, because I can go down the list of fights. I picked Lamont Peterson to beat Amir Khan. I bet him. He was an 8-1 favorite. I bet him, but I scored the fight for Amir Khan, even though I was biased towards Peterson.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to justify my pick.
Well, Tim Bradley Pacquiao, did you have it for Pacquiao, or did you have it for Bradley?
I had it for Bradley.
But your brother thought Pacquiao won.
No, my brother watched it with me, and
I thought he thought that Pacquiao won.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Okay.
Because he said everyone's saying Pacquiao won. You're an idiot.
Okay, that's what it was. And
then we sat down and watched it, and he goes, my brother, I scored it 115 to 113. You know how my brother scored it? 116 to 112 for Bradley. So he had it wider than me.
Right.
I picked Pacquiao to destroy Jeff Horn.
Yeah.
I scored the fight a draw.
Right.
So my history is pretty consistent. Just because I pick a guy to win, even when I've bet on guys, I've scored against them.
Sure.
And I've won. So I'm biased, but I'm objective. My big problem is Teddy Atlas and Mike Montero. These scorecards were bad. I don't like the fact that we had a fight that was a very good fight. It was a good fight for boxing. We have a new star in the sport of boxing emerge. You have the old guy pass the torch to the young guy. Beautiful thing. 4 million viewers on ESPN. And then you have people like Teddy Atlas, who people look at and respect his opinion. So he's a person that has an influence, if you will.
Sure.
And he's taking that influence, and all he's talking about are these freaking scorecards, when only one of them was really bad. And the irony I see in this is his scorecard was not good either. I don't think 114 was a good scorecard. And I never would have said anything about it. And I have nothing against Wood. But I do think that HBO, ESPN, they have their preferences. I think they kind of ride with the house fighter. I think the commentary was a little biased against Lopez. It's just my opinion from my observation.
We said that. I mean, we said that the night of the fight.
And I think
you could tell who the house fighter was, no question.
And I think that's why, like the second and seventh round, when you have a guy in Teddy Atlas, and you have many people saying, "Oh, well, Lopez pretty much won the first 2.5 minutes, but Lomachenko stole around with the combination at the end." That's not how you score a round. If a guy wins 2 minutes and 30 seconds of a round, okay, and then he lands like one punch at the end of it, and you give him the round, unless the guy staggers or he almost goes down and his knees inches off the ground, how can so I just think they were going out of their way to make this fight closer than it was, and in doing so, you're taking away from Lopez's victory. But even if you want to do that, that's fine. But don't sit there and make the headline about this event the shitty scorecards, because then people look at this and they're reading about the fight, and instead of thinking about how great this fight was and how good of a night this was for boxing, oh, boxing's corrupt. Teddy Atlas even said all these judges are either corrupt or incompetent, and that would be fine. But his scorecard was not good either. His scorecard was bad. I don't think 114 is a good scorecard. So how could someone who turned in a bad scorecard themselves say that all three judges had bad scorecards?
But we're talking.
That's what pissed me off.
Okay, but so let me just to be clear. Are you mad about the scorecards? Are you mad about the headlines?
I'm mad about the scorecards taking precedence over how good the night and the fight were. That's what's pissing me off. I don't care how they scored the fight.
Sure.
But I scored the fight 116 and 112, right?
Right.
Another judge scored at 116 and 112. Another judge scored at 117 and 111. We both agreed that 117 and 111 is not an impossible scorecard.
Right.
It's plausible.
It's plausible.
You got guys like Montero, Atlas, and other people, which are mainstream media guys. Everyone, Lance Pugmire had the fighter.
Montero, huh?
Lance Pugmire.
Right.
Mike Coppinger. Again, these are guys who have podcasts. Like, these guys are mainstream guys, right? It's ironic that all the mainstream guys who picked Lomachenko to win either have it 114 and 114 or 115 and 113. So they allowed their bias, in my opinion, to affect their objectivity. And that's fine. That's fine. That's the way of the world, right, Eric? That happens, right?
Are you sure it was their bias and not just the way they saw the fight? Now, I'll give you an example. given the fact that I just saw the fight the Clayton fight, I completely am on the other side of that fight. I watched that fight and I said, this guy won that fight.
That's fine.
So why is that different?
Because you're taking, well, first of all, it wouldn't matter to me if they didn't say that all three scorecards were bad. So they're essentially saying my scorecard was bad too, because I scored it 116 and 112. So I scored it the same as the three judges. So they're saying all three scorecards were bad. So they're saying my scorecard essentially is bad too.
Well, I don't think anybody is saying that your scorecard was bad.
Indirectly, if you're saying all three scorecards in that fight were bad, and I had an identical scorecard to one of the judges in that fight.
But only Teddy Atlas said the scorecards were bad.
No, Lance Pugmire. I listened to the Lance Pugmire and the Mike Hoppinger. They all said all of them said that three scorecards were bad. And I'm Mike, I have nothing personal against you. We have a disagreement here. Trust me. I made a comment last week that you had Lomachenko under Ruiz. I was kidding around. I'll take it back if it offended you. I was kidding around. So this is nothing personal because I know Mike watches the show. Mike, I apologize if I offended you. I wasn't taking a personal shot at you. I was just kidding around. All right? So they were so adamant about saying all three scorecards are bad, going out of their way to make that the headline. And to me, it bothered me because I thought it took away from how great the fight was and how great of a night of boxing it was. Boxing does enough to shoot itself in the foot. Boxing does a lot to make itself look bad. But when you have people going out of their way to make boxing look bad, you're taking one card. And someone tweeted, a couple people tweeted out, one bad card should not overshadow how good this fight was and how good of a performance it was for Lopez. And in my opinion, I think what these guys are doing, and it's not a coincidence because it's the mainstream. Most of the people on here, right, that picked Lopez to win, none of us turned in 118 and 110 cards. None of us turned in friggin' 119 and 109 cards. Most of us had it 116 and 112, which I think was probably the most accurate scorecard in my opinion. But why is our scorecard unrealistic and wrong, but 114 isn't?
Did anybody say that, like say Montero or Coppinger, they said that 116, 112 was unrealistic?
No, they said the scorecards were bad. They didn't say the scorecard was bad. They said, Mike Montero said 117 and 111 was bad. And I almost scored the fight 117 and 111 because I thought the 8th round could have gone either way. So I'm biased towards Lopez, but I fought off my bias and I wanted to be objective to Lomachenko. Now, you made a statement that, well, then I'm biased to Lomachenko. If you look up the word bias in the dictionary, I'm not trying to be a smartass. It means favoring or disfavoring one over the other. I was favoring Lopez over Lomachenko. So if you're biased, you can't be biased towards both sides. It has to be against one, or that's not what the word is.
Okay. All right. So you've talked. Let me talk here for a minute.
That's fine.
Okay. So in regards to the titles and what things are about, okay, in regards to what Coppinger's talking about, in regards to what Montero's talking about, and to every extent too what we're talking about, okay, we put the titles on the shows to do what? What is the purpose of a title of a show? To draw in the viewer.
To draw people.
To draw in the viewer. We see it all the time. We see it all the time with nonsense titles out there that we know are just nonsense, and people draw it in. We try to, and everybody that I've mentioned, everybody that you mentioned, does the same thing as we do. They try to draw the people in, but they don't try to mislead them. Those scorecards, putting the scorecard in the title like that and saying it was an awful scorecard is not misleading them. Okay, because 119, 111, we all agree across the board. We agree on two things. We agree on 119, 111 is an awful scorecard. Okay,
109.
119, right? 119, 109 is an awful scorecard.
Yes.
Okay. We also agree that Lomachenko did not win the fight. It is, to me, it would be very difficult to give Lomachenko the nod in that fight. Correct?
Correct.
All right. And according to you, it would be impossible. According to me, it's very highly unlikely that we could find rounds. And
you don't
say,
like
hey,
you don't like using the word impossible, and you know what? I respect that. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how to think.
Right. So the fact that people had a draw, I had the fight on fight night. I had to go back and rewatch the 12th round, but on fight night, I had the fight scored 115-113. Okay. Given the fact I had a fight, I had a 115-113. Now the swing rounds were, I think, 2 and 7 or so. People were saying like round 2. Now, when I watched round 2, I couldn't give that round to him, but that's me. People did. Andre Ward, who, listen, I mean, he probably knows a little bit more about boxing than I do, given the fact that he's a multiple-time world champion, multiple weight class division. He knows a lot about it than I do. Okay. If Andre Ward gives him the second round, I got to respect that. No, I mean, you got to respect that given the fact that he's been in there, he knows, he's been there, but not only Andre Ward gave it to him, Mike Montero gave it to him. Coppinger gave it to him. I'm assuming here that Coppinger gave it to him. Pugmire gave it to him. All these guys, and I respect these guys, I really do. I respect all these guys. Yeah. So we're talking, literally, like I said, I gave the 12th round to him, which everybody to almost to a person says, no, he didn't win that 12th round. So when I went back and rewatched it, I said, you know what? He didn't win that 12th round. I'm not going to rescore the fight again. My official card was 115-113.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I missed that 12th round because I treat it like a judge. A judge can't go back and say, you know what?
That's fine.
I'm going to change this. I can't do it. We can't do that.
That's fine.
And that's how I've always said when I score fights, but like I said, I missed the round. So it's definitely from 115-113, I would have had it a 116-112 round. So, but given the fact that I had it 115-113, we're talking about a round. I give one more round, that's a draw. So why? I don't understand like that, but that's their opinion. Why does it have to be a bye? I didn't care who won or who lost. I just wanted to see a good fight. So it doesn't, I would take umbrage in the fact that you say that they are biased toward Loma. Now listen, Andre Ward, you can make that case for because he works at ESPN, and Loma's the house fighter.
Mike Montero loves Lomachenko. All the mainstream guys have a bias towards Lomachenko because that's who was getting all of the press, all the promo, everything was surrounded by Lomachenko. I'm not saying it's even wrong, but just admit it. That's all. They were overly, I think.
But you're assuming they have a bias.
I think that
that's an assumption.
I think the circumstantial evidence proves it.
What circumstantial evidence? Montero wasn't involved in the promotion,
but he's always really been a like if anyone ever said anything, like he's a huge Lomachenko fan. He's biased.
I'm a huge Triple G fan. I like Triple G.
Okay.
I'm a huge Canelo fan too. I like Canelo.
I'm a huge Manny Pacquiao fan, but I scored the fight a draw.
And I had Triple G tie. I think I had it a tie. I don't know. I think I had it tie the second fight.
I think that there was a bias towards Lomachenko in the mainstream media because they all picked him. So if you pick somebody,
but you know what? I watched now. Okay, listen to this now. Now I watched a video where they interviewed trainers. They interviewed like 10 separate trainers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different venues, everything like that. They just took 10 different trainers. Every single one, with the exception of one, said that Loma was going to wipe him.
Yeah.
Everyone. Trainers. They have no reason to be biased. They have different fighters. None of them are the coach. So by your logic then.
This is my opinion. And I think the empirical data proves this. I think that once the mainstream media and the networks get behind a fighter, I think subconsciously there's a bias they have towards that fighter. Now you ask me why, Beeb? Why? Well, obviously ESPN has a bias towards Lomachenko because that's their guy.
That's their guy.
Why? So why does Montero? Why would Beeb? Why would Montero? Why would Coppinger?
Pugmire, right?
Again, they get credentialed by these guys. They get access.
Well, so do we.
Not like them.
What do you
So
mean not like them?
we don't
Credential's a credential.
we don't get access like them. We're not gonna.
What access does Coppinger? What access? Coppinger. What access does Montero get that we can't get?
Coppinger and Montero, because of who they're affiliated with.
Who are they affiliated with?
Mike Montero is affiliated with Ring TV. Coppinger and Pugmire is the LA Times. Coppinger with the Athletic. So I mean, they're with big entities.
Montero sat the same place I did at the Triple G fight, the Triple G Jacobs fight.
Well,
we were in the same area. I mean,
he works for Ring TV. His podcast is being broadcast on Ring TV now. With all due respect, we're not. I mean,
sure.
So whether there's a bias or not, that's not even my beef, Eric. My major beef is this. I think that people talked too much about saying all three scorecards were bad. Boxing, Teddy Atlas is putting out that, either, these judges are either corrupt or incompetent. I just think, to me, that bothered me because I don't think that was the right way to talk about this night of fighting. I think there was one bad card, and he framed it like all three judges were corrupt. I just didn't like that. That's just my opinion. I mean,
that's one guy.
That is bad for boxing. But again, that's a guy who's on ESPN being interviewed, talking to people, and people look at that guy and they say, well, look what Teddy Atlas said. I don't think it's a good look for the sport. It's my opinion. That's just how I feel. And even though I do think that there was a bias towards Lomachenko, because again, people tend to favor the house guy. People tend to go with the guy who's the name, the bigger name. Why, Beeb? Because it's human nature.
But I think you're getting confused, not necessarily confused here, but like Stephen A. Smith and like Skip Bayless. You've watched these guys on TV. Skip Bayless knows absolutely nothing. I would say he knows nothing about nothing. Stephen A. Smith, when he tries to talk boxing, it's almost laughable. Or when he talks about MMA, it's almost laughable because he doesn't know what he's talking about either. A lot of, these guys, they become the contrarian sometimes on ESPN to get a rise out of people. To get, you know what I mean? It's all entertainment at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, this is just me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching this sport for 35 years, close to 40. It's closing in on 40.
Yeah, sure.
The sport's had a lot of black eyes on it. Some it deserved, most of it deserved. So why go out of our way to give the sport more black eyes by saying that the judges were corrupt or incompetent when they really weren't? There was one bad card. These judges agreed on 8 of the 12 rounds. Most people agreed on 8 of the 12 rounds. My only argument is it bothered me that the judging, like when Lomachenko beat Luke Campbell, I thought Campbell won at least 3 rounds. They gave him 1. When Kyle Froch beat Mikhail Kessler in the rematch, I picked Kessler, but I thought Froch won. But the fight wasn't 9-3 like one of the judges scored it. So I don't care about that. But if someone's going to take that card and say all the cards were bad, and they're going to make that the focal point of the event, and they're going to use words like corruption, and they're going to use words like incompetent, and why then the people are going to look and say, well, why should I even watch this sport if the scorecards are going to be filled out before the fight's even done? Like to me, it made a great night look bad. It shined a negative light where a negative light did not belong on a night where 4 million people 4 million people watched this fight. Okay. And when you have a guy like Teddy Atlas saying what he said, and other guys like Pugmire, these scorecards were horrible. This fight was a close fight, whatever. And it really wasn't, in my opinion. But I don't care if someone says it. But by focusing so much on the judges and saying it's corrupt, and boxing has fucked up enough. Let's not go out of our way to make the sport look more corrupt than it is.
Do you think that's really, I mean, how many games do we watch in a weekend? How many football games? I can pick out just about every football game and say the ref screwed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they talk about it, and they'll talk about it on Monday and say, you know what? There was about 5 games in the NBA.
Eric, it's just how I feel, man. I mean, it's just how I feel. I can't.
Well, I'm just saying that
that's just how I feel.
Taking it too personally is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not taking it personal. I think it's bad for the sport. It's not good for the sport to sit there and keep telling people it's corrupt and it's crooked. Not people who are supposed to support people like Teddy Atlas who have made a living off this sport. He's trying to become the scorecard police. Every fight that he scores differently than the judges, he keeps saying it's a robbery and boxing is corrupt and boxing is incompetent and boxing is crooked. How can you say those things when you are turning in bad scorecards yourself? And then everyone's looking at this guy as like he's an authority on the sport. People look at Teddy Atlas. He goes on ESPN shows and stuff. People listen to this guy, and he's an influencer on a lot of casual boxing fans. And he's sending the wrong message to these people. That's just how I feel. Whether you disagree with it or not, you don't feel that way. No. I'm not going to try and talk you into it. But that's how I feel.
But do you think it cost us viewers, though? Do you think it cost boxing viewers?
It could.
I mean, the fact that he's saying corrupt, it's not like anybody doesn't think boxing's corrupt.
You know what my brother said after I showed him that second round?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't watch this fucking sport. Because he thinks the sport's corrupt. I've had people tell me, boxing's fixed. Why should I watch it? They already know the guy, the bigger name's going to win. And then you got a guy like Teddy Atlas giving them confirmation bias by saying the things he says. I don't think it's good for the sport. I do take it personal. I do take it personal.
Why do you take it so personal?
Because I don't like seeing people hurt the sport that I love. That's how I feel. And I find it so ironic that a guy who's made millions of dollars as a trainer, as a commentator, is going to sit there and shit on the sport. I think he shits on the sport. I don't think he says accurate statements, and I think he goes out of his way because he's bitter because he's lost his role. That's just my opinion.
Has he though? I mean, he's making money. I mean, he's making money with ESPN. He's making money on his podcast.
He doesn't have. He got demoted. He got demoted. No one likes getting demoted.
I don't know. I think it's
a difference of opinion. You're right. I'm not going to convince you.
Right. Well, it's not factual, is what I'm saying. It's just not factual. That he got
demoted from his role.
No.
That's factual. That's factual.
You didn't listen. I didn't say that wasn't factual. I said the argument that you're making is not really based on solid, concrete facts. You said circumstantial evidence. It's not solid facts, and it's your feeling though, and I get that, and I respect that. You know what I mean? So
I ended every sentence that I said today in my opinion. Did I or did I not?
No, I'm not saying you didn't.
I didn't use the word fact.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm just reiterating that it's not a factual thing. You know what I mean? That it's not, like I said, with Coppinger and with saying that there's a Loma bias out there with Coppinger and Georgie, you're not online. So if you want to get online and you want to talk, punch the button. But what I'm saying is you're saying there's a Loma bias, but there's no, just because what I'm saying is just because a guy scored the fight different than you scored it doesn't make him biased.
And just because I scored the fight different than someone else doesn't mean I'm incompetent or corrupt.
No, absolutely not. I think yesterday was a perfect example where I saw one winner, you saw another. You know what I mean?
I'm not criticizing anyone who scored the fight any which way. But if you're going to sit there and say that 117 and 111 is a bad scorecard and 116 and 112 is a bad scorecard.
Who said that 116 and 112 was a bad scorecard?
Teddy Atlas.
Who else?
Lance Pugmire.
Pugmire said 116, 112 was way too wide?
He said all 3 cards were wide, Eric. There's only 3. I mean, if you say all 3 cards are wide, if you say all 3 cards are wide, Coppinger said all 3 cards were wide.
That's silly. Now that's silly.
So why would you make a statement like that?
I can say 117, 117, one. If you want to say that wide, I respect that. But 116, you're talking about a difference of a round. What was his actual score? They both scored at a draw.
Eric, you've known me for a while now.
Yeah.
Do I criticize other people's scorecards?
You don't.
I don't.
You don't. But this is the first time I've seen you this bent over scorecards.
Because it's being made a bigger story than it should have been made. That's my whole argument, Eric. If they just said one scorecard was bad, that's fine. But there's too many people that are in that are in respectable positions that have, big ties that are saying that.
Yeah.
And what bothers me is influential people who are casual fans will listen to these people, and then they're going to turn around and say, "Wow, this fight. Why? If there's a rematch, why should I watch the rematch? This sport's corrupt." I already had people say, there were people saying after the Golovkin fight, the first one,
yeah,
that and obviously it didn't pan out the way that, but like, oh, I don't even want to see a rematch now. They're never going to let Triple G win, but obviously that was wrong because the second fight did good pay-per-view numbers as well. But boxing fucks up a lot. There's a lot of mistakes boxing makes. You can't defend boxing sometimes. So let boxing fuck up. Don't say don't go out of your way to make them look like they're fucking up when they're not. Don't try to make something worse than it is just to get a headline. It's not good for the sport.
I would agree with Nacho on this. He says that basically casuals don't listen to Teddy Coppinger or Montero. Most of their fan base is hardcore.
Nacho, I hope you're right, and I want to be wrong.
I mean, who's a casual that listens to? You know what I mean? Casuals don't even listen to.
I know a lot of people that bring up Teddy Atlas. That's why.
All right, let's tell you what. Let's go to Georgie here. He said he wants to give you this work, whatever that means. Georgie, you're live.
Hey, yo! What's happening, people?
Georgie, Trump 2020. I'm part of the group, Lebanese for Trump. So make sure you vote for Trump next week. I'm part of that group. I got an organization going, Lebanese for Trump. So make sure you vote.
Baby, Trump 2020, baby.
That's it. With Trump.
Fake news.
That's it, baby.
We're going after these states.
Are you voting for Trump, Georgie? Are you able to vote in the prison?
I ain't voting for none of these motherfuckers, bro. That shit don't take you nowhere. They be fighting the same fight since the fucking 60s, bro.
You're not voting at all?
Out. Martin Luther King.
Let me ask you,
are
you able to vote, first of all?
Of course. Of course.
So you're able to vote, but you're not going to vote for you're not going to vote for any candidate. You're not going to vote for any candidate for president?
Nope.
Why?
Don't give two fucks about it. Whatever gonna happen. Because it's useless, baby. This is the thing. Don't you you all
do you want change?
The same issue. Listen,
but do you want change? Yes or no? Real simple question. Yes or no, do you want change? Would you want a change?
No.
You don't want to change. You're happy with the way things are.
I want another fucking bill. What?
It must be great to be Georgie. It must be great to live in your world. Go ahead, Georgie. I thought you were going to give me some work. What's the work?
Fantastic.
What's the work?
Well, the work, first of all, let's get something straight. I've been waiting patiently.
Sure.
Patiently.
We appreciate it.
For the 31. Because we know whose belt is on the line, don't we know, Beeb? Whose belt's on the line on the 31st?
My belt's on the line because I'm picking. I said my belt's on the line. I'm picking Santa Cruz. I'm giving you a title shot.
All right. I just want to know, serious question, and I need an answer.
Yep.
How much is Al Heyman paying Tank to carry Santa Cruz for 12 rounds? How much he's getting to carry this man to the 12 rounds?
That's awful.
I haven't talked to him, so I would not know.
That's harsh. That's very harsh, Georgie.
I haven't talked.
I mean, there is no way this man should pass the fucking 8-7 round, bro. Top. As Sultan put the hands on him, put those hammers on that cat, he should go down. He should go down soon. Anyway, fuck Santa Cruz. Listen, let's get to the juice. Tier 1. Listen, Tier 1. Sofima won.
Yes, and that's not even in debate. Not even in debate.
A close fight. There's no debate. Anybody debating that Loma won this, that, or the third, I don't know what the fuck they watching. That's that. Now, on the rematch, if they fight in 6 months, I'm picking Loma. Even though I picked Tio this time around, I'm going to pick Loma. Because if Loma would have started a round or two early, it's over.
I think Tio beats him in a rematch, too.
Loma would have started fucking on the fifth.
Tio knocks him out in the rematch.
There would be no discussion of who won whatsoever. What?
Tio knocks him out in a rematch. Easy.
I don't hate that pick either.
Easy. Knocks him out easy in a rematch. Easy.
I know, but it could happen.
I bet everything I own on it that Tio stops him.
I bet the house that Tio beats him second time around easy. What if Tio does to him what he did in the 12th in the first half of the fight? He knocks him out, bro. Again, this whole thing about starting late, no one wakes up and says, I'm going to throw no punches. No one wakes up and says, I'm going to start late. He was flinching with his right hand because he couldn't even time the jab. He was getting smashed to the body. He was getting smashed with the jab. Couldn't fuck with the kid. You can't fuck with this. You can't fuck with this. It's the way it is.
He was not.
You can't fuck with this. You can't fuck with this. When are you going to stop? When are you going to stop doubting me? I'm giving you free information. I'm not even charging you, and you're going to continue to doubt me. I've been schooling you for years. I've been schooling you for years. I've been schooling you for years, and you're a horrible student because you're not taking notes. You're not taking notes. You're not writing shit down.
Why don't you write it down, George?
I'm giving you the answers to the test. I'm giving you the answers to the test, and you're still failing the test. You're still failing the test.
Miserable.
I became a master. And on 31, it will be official. Get that straight.
Did he say he was in the Masters?
You got more people on the line.
You're still failing the test when I give you the answers. There's no excuse for that.
Oh, my God. This man, Beeb, I love you, baby, but you need professional help more than I need it.
I went to therapy. I went to therapy this week. I went to therapy this week.
Who is these people against you? Who are they?
Hold on. Let me tell you something.
Who are these people?
Let me tell you something. I went to therapy this week, my weekly session, and my therapist asked me, Beeb, what did you do this week? I said, well, I made like about 13 Lomachenko Lopez videos. He said, that's not healthy. So I stopped making the videos. I listened to my therapist. told me it wasn't healthy that I made 13 videos about Lomachenko and Lopez. He said, Mr. Habib. He said, Mr. Habib. He said, Mr. Habib, let it go. I'm letting it go. But as soon as I let it go, you pull me back in. You pull me back in. I let it go, but you pulled me back in.
Stop it. You know, if you don't make a video about this, you're going to make a video about Oscar. If not, Oscar's going to be Eddie. We already know. So, nothing new.
I stopped doing it because my therapist told me let it go. I haven't made an Eddie video in about a year.
Listen, I don't have a lot of shit to say because I didn't even watch none of it.
You don't have a lot of shit to say. You babble.
You didn't have time. Fuck leaping in, the other motherfucker didn't give a fuck about none of that shit. Anyways, now, let's talk about this mafia before I go. Baby, the sport's corrupt. Big time.
No question. I don't think there's any question about that. It's been corrupt for years.
So when some people see a scorecard that they don't agree, what the fuck they gonna say? Oh, it was a robbery. But if
there's a reason they do that.
So this is the thing. But this is the thing. Like you say, some of these people, they work for this company. They got no other motherfucking choice that wrong with the lyrics.
Wow, you made a strong comeback. You're making a strong comeback in this call.
Listen.
Strong comeback in this call. This is one of your best outings.
But check this out. Check this out. Didn't Loma in 3 fucking professional fights got 2 title shots? Right or wrong?
I already said, and again, this is what I said before.
Now, answer the question. Like you tell me to answer the question. Yes or no? Yes or no?
It's
yes
political.
Or no?
Yes, it's political.
Yes or no?
Yes. I'm agreeing with you. How the fuck did I had never seen? Listen, I don't follow boxing like you guys do, but I never seen that shit on my life. I'm agreeing with you. I said it before.
Big golden.
Nobody.
Listen, Lomachenko had a fucking golden brick fucking bro all the way on his career. Protected. That's what I'm saying.
That's too much. Now that's too much. Now that's too much. Now you're crossing the line. Now you're crossing the line. Now you're crossing the line. Now we got to pull out. Now we got to pull out the freaking drug test kits. Now we got to pull out the drug test kits now because now you're crossing the line.
These are facts, baby. These are facts. That's what I never liked Lomachenko. Like I never liked fucking Walder. Like I don't like motherfucking Crawford. I hate all these cocksuckers. They got the power to give us the fight at the right time and the right moment, and they side with the fucking money. And all these cocksuckers on the top. I hate them all. How the fuck you will not if you say you love the sport? Listen, I've said it many times. The sport must die. Die. No boxing. And let the fans fucking revive this motherfucker like a phoenix on some righteousness shit. But you guys glamorize these fucking belts are fucking masters, bro. Take that goddamn belt out of the wall, bro. I gotta go. I don't have a lot of time to recreate here. You're not gonna lock me down again, so I'm out.
All right. Georgie in another mangled call. All right, let's go to 805. I think this is Nacho. 805, you're live.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nacho, what's happening?
Nach, would you like a takeover t-shirt?
Nothing much.
Would you like a takeover t-shirt?
Yeah, I just got one. I messaged Tiafimo. He's going to send me one.
Would you like one, Nach?
Beeb.
Yes, sir.
Beeb. Please stop acting like Floyd Mayweather. Stop being so salty. Your boy won. Relax.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying to him.
No need for.
I already talked to my.
I talked to my
therapist. This is a lot. I'm not after today. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. He said it's not healthy.
Let me jump in here. Let me jump in here real quick, Nacho. Let me jump in real quick. So every day this week, Beeb has been texting me a different article and calling it bias scorecards. This has been every day this week.
Last day though.
I've never seen anybody win and be so angry about it.
And be on a conspiracy
theory of why the guy won.
Yeah.
It is completely nuts. This is complete nonsense.
I'm just letting you know that this will be the last day I'm talking about.
Completely nonsense.
This is the last day. This is the last day I'm going to talk about it. I already talked to my therapist.
Says,
I already talked to my
guy that I picked won, but I don't buy it.
And here's another statement. Here's another statement that was made.
Jesus.
Last thing I'm going to say. This statement that was made really aggravated me. Lomachenko deserved better than those scorecards. Why? Why does Lomachenko deserve better scorecards?
The fight was closer than 119, 111. I get it, or 109.
No,
I get it.
But he deserved better scorecards
because he put up a better fight than what they gave him.
So all the scores should have been either 115 or 113 or 114.
Well, they should have been 119. Okay, we all agreed on that.
So that was one bad scorecard. He didn't deserve 3 better scorecards, just one.
No, and he didn't deserve to win the fight either.
All right, that's the last thing I'm ever going to say. My therapist just texted me, told me to stop, so I'm getting off it right now. I'm gonna. I gotta let it. She wants me to let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
Therapy time is what you need to see her. You need to see her 2 times a week, man.
No, I see her on Fridays. I only see her on Fridays.
We're on Thursdays and Fridays. All right, Nacho, what do you got?
Eric, you just gotta get Teddy on the show. I just want to see Teddy and Beeb go fucking crazy against each other over these scorecards. I mean, I think that would just be awesome.
I would love to have
and
Teddy
I
on
think
the
the rest
show.
of the crowd would appreciate that as well.
I would love to have Teddy on the show.
Just
Just
to
get
hear
him
them-
riled up,
Just to hear them insult each other and go at it.
Just to get him riled up.
Notch,
Pretty much.
Notch, how'd you score that fight last night with Lipinets? How'd you score that fight?
Yeah,
with
how did you
Lipinets
score
last
that?
night? Who won that fight, Notch?
I had it 8-4 for Lipinets.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had it 8-4 for Lipinets.
So
I
he
thought
agreed with
that,
you, Eric. He agreed with you.
I thought that
If I had to guess, I would have put it at 9-3.
I thought that Clayton.
You know.
It's fine.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I
I
would've
guess
put it at
I'm
9-3
being a little more generous to Clayton, but I just felt Clayton didn't do enough. I just felt like he mostly landed his jab with the occasional right hand mixed in, and he did enough to get Lipinets' respect. But to me, I just felt like Lipinets went after him all night and landed the harder, cleaner shots, and I just felt like he did enough to win the fight. But apparently, the judges felt differently, and they scored it a draw, which I didn't see it that way. But it is what it is. It just sucks for Lipinets because now instead of him getting a shot at the winner of Spence Garcia, now he's going to have to make his way to the back of the line before he gets another shot at a name contender, especially at 47.
Notch,
So,
but do you
I mean,
think
that's really the only bad thing about it for him.
do you think they could still give him that shot even though the fight was a draw? Because technically he didn't lose. Can they still give him the shot or no? Or does he have to win it?
No.
No,
He's gotta win that. You
I
can't draw
can't.
that. You
I
can't
think
draw
there's,
that.
yeah, you can't draw against a guy like Clayton. Like he should have beat
Can't
Clayton.
do it. Can't do it. If
If he had drawn against somebody
grasping
like
the straws,
Sherman or
grasping the straws.
Garcia, that's a different
Oh,
story.
hold on. Just stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I just feel bad for Lipinets.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just checking my
What's the matter with you?
trying to make sure because I've been screaming.
Oh my God.
My scream. I've been screaming a lot today. I just want to make sure my levels are okay. That's all.
Jesus. You're a mess over there.
Oh, my
Get a hold of
God.
yourself.
Jeez. Yeah. Man, that's funny.
Checking my oxygen and my checking my heart rate, see if it's not going up too high. I want to make sure it doesn't go over 100 beats.
Do you see those new Apple Watches do that? Those new Apple Watches do that?
Oh, they do? They do?
Yeah, they do the oximeter thing. It's pretty cool.
I want to get a Fitbit.
Yeah. Get you an Apple Watch, man. It does all that stuff.
The Apple does the Fitbit stuff too?
Yeah, it does all that stuff.
How much do those cost? Like 200?
Yeah, they're up there.
They're expensive, huh? Everything Apple makes is expensive.
Everything they do.
Nothing they make is cheap.
No. Who you got this weekend, Notch?
I'm kind of on. I'm with the thinking of Beeb in that if Davis makes 130, I have a feeling that Santa Cruz is probably going to win the fight. Because I mean, seeing Gervonta Davis have to put on a sauna suit the last few weeks just to cut weight, that's not a good sign. I have a feeling that he's going to come in dried out by the time he comes in on Friday for the weigh-in. So I have a feeling that if he makes 130, which I think he looks like he is, I think Santa Cruz is going to pull off the upset. I think because I honestly don't understand why Davis agreed to the fight at 30. He should have made it at 35 to benefit him instead of fighting Santa Cruz at 30. But
I wonder if Santa Cruz would have gone up to 135
we'll
to fight
see
him,
how that-
though. You know what I mean? I think that that
I
might
think
be
he
something
would have.
that-
I think he would have.
Or at least make the catch
Yeah,
weight.
I think
At
he
least
would've
make it a
done it.
catch weight at like 133 or something, right, Eric? No?
I don't mind that either. I don't mind that.
I have a feeling Tank's going to step on the scale and he's going to weigh like 131, 132. He's going to be slightly over.
You think he's going to be over? I think that's a big issue. But I think he's going to make weight. He looks dialed in for this.
Yeah, you know what?
He's a big guy, though.
I think he looks dialed in. I think he looks dialed in, and he looks in shape.
Yeah.
But he stepped on the scale. I think he weighed 134 a couple days ago.
That's still on point, though.
But here's my thing.
Yeah.
He may be
That's what
134. He may
that's
be
what Mayweather
130.
said.
He may be 134 totally stripped down. Like he may have already hit the point he can't go below, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I'm just,
I guess we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Pure speculation on my point.
He's been doing a lot of
Yeah,
videos
but
saying he's
then
going to hit that weight. So
That,
Am I right now? Am I right
that's
now?
where I think he's going to come in looking dried out.
Am I right now?
I think he's going to come in looking dried out. Yeah, I think so.
March,
I
I
think
love.
he-
This
I
is
think
one of
he's
the
gonna
rare
have a tough
occasions
race.
now. We're on the same page this week, Daddy.
that.
By
Leo
the time
Santa
you
Cruz
listen to me,
shirts all around.
by the time you
Well-
listen to me, Notch, you're tired of going against my
Well, Beeb,
picks. You're
we
tired of going against my picks.
We just need you to come. We just need you to come back into reality after you lost the farm for the last few days. That's all we need, Beeb. We need you to gain some sense of sanity once again. That's why.
All right, Notch, we're going to get running. We're going to talk about the Santa Cruz fight. Before we do,
All right, guys.
Beeb, where do the best calls come from?
Ohio, baby.
Of course. 614, you're live.
Yeah, website is. Oh,
Yeah, and then he was like, something that I like.
Oh, he doesn't
It
know.
was like the weirdest conversation.
What are they talking about, Beeb?
wow.
It was like
He pretty much got you the stereotype. I was talking to the stereotype in the area.
Tell me his life. Tell me his life. Tell me his life.
Right.
614, you're live.
Like,
He's not even listening. He's talking to some chick over
That's
there.
kind of funny, though.
He's trying to hook up with some girl, and we got a live show going on, Beeb.
I'll work on it.
You gotta go. Gotta go. All right, Ohio, call back. Over there trying to hook up, stuff like that. I don't blame him. I wouldn't have answered either. All right. So let's talk about this fight preview, man. Leo Santa Cruz versus Gervonta Davis. Hey, let me tell you what here. Before we even do that, let me tell you the rundown. How crazy Halloween is going to be. All right. On October 30th on DAZN, Jaime Munguia versus Terriano Johnson, 12 rounds middleweights. I'd watch that fight. I'm going to watch that fight. All right. So October,
It's not a bad fight.
Not a bad fight. I mean, I think we expect to, we know what to expect happens, but it is what it is, October 31st on ESPN Plus. Robbie was asking me about this earlier, wanted to know if it was on ESPN or ESPN Plus. I told him ESPN. I was wrong. It's ESPN Plus. Sorry, buddy.
I apologize, Tim. You should have the ESPN Plus.
I agree. You know who he's taking, don't you?
Who?
Santa Cruz.
This kid better start giving me a cut. I'm getting sick of it.
Are you driving a Tesla now? What do I know?
Picking all my picks now. He's stealing every single pick I got.
Naoya Inoue versus Jason Maloney, 12 rounds for Inoue's WBA and IBF bantamweight world titles. How crazy is that on ESPN Plus, man? I can't wait to see the monster.
I can't wait to see that.
That's a good fight. That's a solid fight, right?
Do you think that's going to be competitive? I think it's going to be a competitive fight.
I think it's going to be very competitive. Yeah, I do.
I'm picking Inoue, but
sure,
the upset is possible there.
He's a live dog there, man.
He is live, man.
He is as live as you get.
I got to check the odds on that.
Yeah, but last time I had a live dog, it was Payano, and he got floored in 30 seconds. You could have made a commercial out of that.
We both picked Payano that fight.
Yeah, man.
Talk me into it.
Yeah, shows you how much I know. All right, on San Antonio, Texas, on Showtime pay-per-view, October 31st, Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz for Davis's WBA lightweight title and Cruz's WBA junior lightweight title. That's an odd thing. Why is it for Davis's lightweight title and Santa Cruz's junior lightweight title?
Well,
it's at 130.
You could fight for a title higher.
I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could. You can be underweight and fight for it. So
Floyd defended his 147 and 154 pound titles against Maidana.
He did, didn't he? That's right.
So
and on the undercard there, Mario Barrios versus Ryan Carl for Barrios' WBA regular junior welterweight title. Regis Prograis versus Juan Heraldez, 10 rounds junior welterweights, and Diego Magdaleno versus Isaac Cruz, 10 rounds for the IBF lightweight eliminator. Not bad. It's not a bad undercard. The Charlo's undercard was much better, I thought, to be honest with you. I thought the Charlo undercard on paper was better than this one. So
that was a great pay-per-view, that Charlo pay-per-view.
It wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
They should have charged more for that.
Wouldn't go that far.
I love doing that to you because I know you hate pay-per-view.
October 31st, also on DAZN, Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora, 12 rounds heavyweights. Lee Selby versus George Kambosos Jr. It's an IBF lightweight eliminator. That's a good fight too. I can't wait to see that fight. Halloween is going to be stacked. Listen, my kids want to go out trick or treat. Enough. We're done. Board up the windows. I'm not going anywhere on Halloween. So if they want to go anywhere, listen, whatever. You kids, as far as passing out candy at my house, ain't happening. All right. I'm not doing nothing. Watching fights all day.
Can you go trick or treating in Ohio? Are they going to let the kids do it?
Yeah, I think they're going to do it county by county, like let the counties decide.
Your governor is kind of a little bit he
was strict, and then he got kind of, I guess he got kind of railroaded by everybody. I'm right in the middle of Trump country over here in Harrison. So let me tell you what, they'll do whatever they want to do out here. There's no rules,
You have a Trump sign on your lawn?
I do not know.
You want me to send one over for you? I mean,
why don't you send one over for me? Yeah.
Right. We're giving them out, man. We're giving them out.
Yeah, because they're not buying them anymore. I'll tell you what.
It's going to be a landslide victory for us next week. Make sure you guys go out and vote.
Make sure you guys go out and vote. Trust me on that one.
Lebanese for Trump.
Lebanese for Trump. Also on October 31st. Now I don't see a TV listing for it. It's going to be in Russia. Murat Gassiev versus Sefer Safiri, Tyson Fury's old nemesis. 12 rounds heavyweight. So that could be out there too. I imagine they might televise that. If not, we can catch it on YouTube. So let's talk about the big one here. A lot of good fights. I mean, just insane fights, right?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Biggest weekend of the year, bar none. This is fight weekend, bar none. This is it, right?
Is it going to be humanly possible to be able to watch every single fight that day, or it's going to have to carry over till Sunday, right?
I'm going to die trying. I'll tell you what. I'm going to try to watch all of them, man. This is insane. All right, so let's preview this fight. Let's see what we got here real quick. Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. To me, it's got the potential to be fight of the year. I know I said this 2 weeks ago, but it's one of the best matchups in 2020. The end of the year, man, it's starting to heat up. It really is. We got Anthony Joshua coming up. It's the Tyson Fury is supposed to be fighting again. So it's really starting to heat up here. So let's break this down, Beeb. Let's give it the advantages here, and then we can talk about it a little bit further. As far as speed goes, who's got the advantage, Santa Cruz or Davis?
I'm gonna give edge to Santa Cruz. I think he's a little faster.
You think Santa Cruz is a little faster?
I do.
Well, it's interesting because he is a lighter weight. But he's fought at 135 as well. I think I give the edge in speed to Tank Davis. I think Tank Davis is known for his speed. He's known for his explosiveness. I think he's got faster hands. I think he's got faster feet than Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is more known for his volume punching. Doesn't mean he's slow by any stretch of the imagination. But as far as speed goes, I think I got to give it to Tank, man.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next category, power. Who do you give this to?
Tank. It's no question.
I think it's a no-brainer here. Davis went the distance with only one of his 23 fights. You got to go all the way back. I looked this up to 2014. It was a 6-round fight that Davis was in and went the distance. I think definitely has the edge and power here. Boxing IQ.
Leo.
I do too. To me, let me tell you what, and let me tell you why. Leo Santa Cruz really impressed me, and he impressed me more coming back from a loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Leo Santa Cruz did what I don't think anybody really thought he was going to do. I thought I picked Frampton to beat him the first time, I think.
I did.
I picked Frampton to beat him even easier the second time.
I did.
And he went back and he regrouped and he made the right adjustments and fought. He didn't go back and fight his fight. He went back and fought Frampton's fight. He went back and boxed, and Frampton had no answers for it. He just proved he was a better boxer. No question about it. Santa Cruz with the ring IQ, no question. Conditioning.
Santa Cruz.
No question about this one either. You know, Leo Santa Cruz, to me, his style is to come forward and throw punches for 12 rounds. He's like a machine. He really is. You know, listen, he goes 12 rounds round to round with that style. And he doesn't slow up. And he's a pressure type fighter. You got to have some stamina for that. You know, Gervonta Davis has had trouble making weight for a lot of fights. For his past few fights, man. He could be in a, you know, if he doesn't come in shape, he doesn't come ready he's going to have a hard time in this fight. It could be a real long night against a guy like Santa Cruz. Tell me, Beeb, what's your X factor here?
Honestly,
Yeah.
Leo Santa Cruz is two things. Can I use two things for an X factor? Or does it have to be one?
Of course.
Okay. Just want to make sure I do it right.
Yeah.
Leo Santa Cruz, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because I've said before that this isn't always the end all be all, but I think the experience fighting better guys and going quality rounds, knowing how to come back from a loss, knowing how to be in a tough fight and come out on top. So experience, and also the versatility. This is a guy that can fight on the inside and grind it out with you. This is also a guy who can box very well from the outside. This is also a guy that can counterpunch a bit. This is a guy who's 5'8", going up against a guy who's 5'5". This is a guy that has a 70-inch reach going up against a guy that has a 67-inch reach. So he's got a 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. And he's going to try to exploit and utilize that advantage in this fight. Because Tank, I think, more or less is a mid-range guy. Santa Cruz is a guy that can fight. He'll go all the way in or go all the way out. He can go in the mid-range, but he likes to either go all the way in and grind it out with you, or he'll box you from the outside. So I think Santa Cruz has the advantage when he goes all the way in, because he could smother Tank's power, take away those mid-range explosive punches from him, because Tank's kind of a guy who throws that mid-range left hand and that mid-range right hook. That's his weapon. But also this is, I think Santa Cruz is more versatile with the attack. So I think his versatility, number one, and his experience, number two, I think are going to be the two X factors here.
All right. My X factors I also have two as well. The first X factor to me is Tank's explosiveness.
Power, yeah.
That to me is his X factor. And it's not just he lands a shot. It's that he could land it at any time, from any place at any time, and he's explosive.
Yes.
He's got the ability to end the fight with either hand. He's got the timing. He's got the speed. I think that's going to be difficult for Santa Cruz to deal with. I really do. That explosiveness, that power. When you get hit with it, all of a sudden it's just like, your game plan has a tendency to change. When you get hit hard and you get hurt, all of a sudden the idea you had may not be the best idea for you going forward. My other X factor is Tank's weight. This could be a big one, okay? Because again, if he, and we've all been, listen, we all have every right to think that he's going to come in, that he could have weight issues coming in here. Just like Adrian Bronner might have weight issues on his, you know what I mean? Like, he's got that track record already in his career. For being at 130, this could be a problem. If he dries himself out, or he's not in condition in any way, or he comes in overweight and he's got to lose some pounds, that could be a big problem for him. It really could. I think that could be a real big problem for him. So those are my X factors. Beeb, break it down. Who do you think wins and why?
I think Santa Cruz is going to win for a multitude of reasons. I think Tank has one advantage in this fight: power. I think Santa Cruz has every other advantage. Even when Tank makes 135, he doesn't even make 135 comfortably. So now he's going to go down to 130. It's almost impossible for me to think that he's going to be at his best at this 130-pound weight. Like I said, Tank's a mid-range guy. Takes long breaks during the round, fights in spurts, goes up against the ropes, allows his opponent to unload on him, and tries to catch shots. But the thing about it is, Santa Cruz, if you lie on the ropes against him, he'll smother you. He'll blanket you with volume. He'll go to the body. He'll go up top. Santa Cruz has a phenomenal jab. He knows how to fight very well from a distance. And like I said, he can fight on the inside and a little bit on the mid-range. I think if Santa Cruz stays out of the mid-range, which I believe he will, fights a little bit on the outside, and then goes all the way in and smothers Tank's power and goes to the body when Tank's up against the ropes and gets in close and smothers Tank's power in those instances, I think he can outwork and outland Tank Davis. And I think Tank Davis will slow down as the fight goes on. I think his volume will even dissipate even more as the fight goes on. And I just see him being outworked and out hustled in this fight by a faster, taller, longer, more rangier Santa Cruz, who has a lot of weapons and has a lot of tools in that toolbox. And I think Tank's main weapon is the power, and I think his best way to win is try to keep this fight in the mid-range. But I don't think Santa Cruz is going to oblige him. So I think Santa Cruz will smother him on the inside and keep him at bay on the outside by using range and forcing Tank to have to reach to get to him. So I think Santa Cruz is going to win a unanimous decision just by out hustling Tank here.
Very good. Very good. I tell you what, from everything I've seen from Gervonta Davis, Tank Davis, he looks dialed in. Yeah. Every video I've watched, every training session, everything like that, he looks dialed in. He's talked especially a lot about his weight this camp, because a lot of people are expecting him to come in overweight, myself being included. That until I see it, I think you have to assume it, right? I mean, you just have to.
I don't think he's making weight this fight.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't.
Yeah, it's hard to think that he's going to be, but I think he will. I really do. I think he will be dialed in. I think I know he looks dialed in to me, but I think he will make weight, because I think this is a giant fight. This is the biggest fight of his career, number one, and it's also the biggest fight of Leo Santa Cruz's career, no question.
Agreed.
Listen, we know Tank can fight, but to me, Santa Cruz, in order for him to win, is going to have to pressure him, take away that power, just like you said, by getting in close. And I think if he stays on the outside, tries to box Tank, he's going to get caught. I just don't see him outboxing him for 12 straight rounds without getting caught. He's going to get caught, okay? Tank carries power with the short shots as well. This is what I noticed. If you go back and you watch, who's the guy that, who's the guy that Devin Haney's fighting next?
Gamboa.
Go back and watch a Gamboa fight. Go back and watch the Pedraza fight, or go back and watch a Gamboa fight. In that 11th round, he catches him in close with a close-in shot, okay, and puts him away. All right? He catches him with that close-in shot. It was a short shot. He doesn't need a lot of room. He doesn't. His power carries, and that's the dangerous thing here. He doesn't need much room to land those shots. The other part of this, I know if Santa Cruz, I don't think that Santa Cruz is really going to be able to hurt Tank. And if that's the case, if he can't hurt Tank, then he's got a big problem in this fight, because Tank will walk right through his shots and walk him down. You know what I mean? So to me, the power is going to be the difference here. And, you watch him. Tank's been fighting bigger guys his entire career. Look at the Pedraza. Look at Gamboa. He's been fighting the bigger guys his entire career. And listen, man, don't get it twisted. I'd love to see Santa Cruz win this fight. I really will. I like Santa Cruz a lot. I really do. I think that he's always been dumped on throughout his career for not fighting anybody. I think he's been dumped on for a variety of reasons. I've always liked him. I think this is a bad matchup for him. I really do. So I tell you what will be interesting. Now, answer me this. Do you think that if Tank does come in overweight, you as a trainer, how do you handle that?
If I'm training Santa Cruz?
Yes.
My eyes light up, because I say what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to go inside. I'm going to want you to rip his body, and then I'm going to want you to turn and pivot out and go back outside and just wash, rinse, and repeat. In and out.
You make him cut that weight.
In and out, in and out, in and out. No.
Okay.
Because if he decides not to make that weight, it's up to me whether or not
the fight goes on. I guess
Santa Cruz, the fight's going to go on. Santa Cruz will. The fight will go on. Here's another thing that I forgot to say as well. Santa Cruz is really good at tucking his chin and bracing himself for shots, and he's really good at rolling shots. And because his stamina is so good, I think he has exceptional punch resistance. Now, again, never been hit with a guy like Tank, so we don't know if that exceptional punch resistance is going to carry over into this fight. But if he's able to roll those shots like he rolls a lot of other people's shots, and he's able to not catch these shots flush. And he's able to time these shots just a little bit, then it'll be interesting to see if, as the fight goes on, Tank slows down and some of that power dissipates.
Yeah. The only thing you can control in a fight really is your stamina, and Leo's got plenty of it. Yeah. I mean, really, you think about it. That's really, as far as control, that's
now,
it.
You said that you don't like, you said you don't like the fact of him being on the outside. Do you think, is that because you think if he's on the outside, you think because Tank is so explosive that he'll be able to,
he'll get caught.
He'll jump in.
He'll get caught. He'll get caught with a jump in shot.
You think he'll come in? He'll be able to be explosive coming in forward.
Yeah,
and just walk through him. You don't think that you don't think that Santa Cruz could measure him with the jab and stop the momentum, or do you think he'll just muscle his way right through that jab?
I think if Santa Cruz can't hurt him, he's going to muscle his way, and this fight's going to be
so
over.
So if the jab could still hit him, but not be hard enough to knock him off rhythm, is what you're saying. Possibly
that's what it is, because I think we would both look at him as a stronger fighter. No, I mean,
sure.
I mean, there's
no question.
Fighter.
Irrefutable, in my opinion.
So if he can't get his attention, he's got to at least be able to get his attention with one of those shots.
Exactly.
So
here's the thing, though. Even if Santa Cruz lands flush, do you think that Tank's just going to eat be able to walk through all them shots? Like, you don't think there's if Santa Cruz is able to land a lot of shots, say Santa Cruz is able to land like more shots, you don't think the accumulative effect of him landing on Tank won't grind him down at all?
Do you see him? Let me ask you this. Do you see Santa Cruz knocking Tank out?
As crazy as it may sound, I don't see him knocking him out, but
wearing him down, maybe?
It's not impossible that he couldn't wear him down late, with body shots. It's improbable, but it's not impossible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, sure. I mean, it's a fight. Anything can happen.
My theory is this: if Tank gets so tired late in this fight, and Santa Cruz is able to continuously hit him to the body and start softening him up that way, and then after softening him up to the body, start going upstairs a little bit, could he stop him, because of fatigue? It's possible, but it's not. I wouldn't pick him to win by knockout, but it's not impossible that he doesn't stop him due to fatigue. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's improbable that he does stop, that Santa Cruz stop. I think it's much more possible that Tank stops him versus Santa Cruz, And so when we talk about like the ways to win, I can see Tank outboxing him just because of his power alone. And I can see him, like I said, I think Santa Cruz is definitely the better boxer, better ring technician. But if you can't take those shots and you can't implement your game plan, then you're going to have a problem no matter what.
So let me ask you this. Say you're watching this fight. You see Tank land a big left hand in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz does nothing. He just takes it and keeps coming. What do you say to yourself at that point?
Well, we may have a problem here.
We have a fight.
I think we had a fight.
That's
what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. If Tank lands a flush shot and Santa Cruz eats it and comes forward, or just starts coming, just keeps coming forward, man, we got something here.
Now, we can both agree Tank has extraordinary power.
Yes.
What if his power was just good? Would you still pick him?
If his power,
say his power was like, would you say Tank hits harder than Mikey Garcia?
No, Garcia's too big. Yeah, Garcia's at 147. No,
I don't say Tank hits harder than Lomachenko.
I would say he's more powerful than Lomachenko. I would say Lomachenko's a sharper fighter. I think his shots are more technical shots than Tank's. Yeah.
So say Santa Cruz was fighting Tank and Tank had Lomachenko's power. How would you see the fight going? You'd give Santa Cruz more of a shot or less?
I would definitely give him more of a shot for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
And again, it's a big X factor.
Yeah.
We can't just say, well, here's the thing. we can't just say Tank's just got power alone, because again, he's a precision fighter too. He's a pretty accurate puncher. You know what I mean? It's not like he's quick and he's explosive, but he's also efficient with his punches. He doesn't wind up and throw wild punches.
Yeah.
So, he's got a good, as Teddy Atlas likes to say, he's got a good delivery system.
So let me ask you this. Do you think if Tank comes in shape, and I'm expecting him to come in shape, again, we talk about the scale and everything. He comes in on point. He looks great on the weight, and he made weight correctly. Does that change anything for you?
It could, but even if he's in the best shape of his life, people who are born round don't die square, like Customato said.
Very true.
He could be in the best shape of his life, but is he that sprinter, or is he a racehorse? Is he a marathon runner or a sprinter? I think.
Well, he knocked Gamboa out in the 11th round,
but he did slow down significantly in that fight. And
he didn't lose any rounds. He didn't lose many rounds, though.
No, he didn't. But Gamboa had a messed up Achilles tendon, and he still went. And I think he still was able to go late in that fight. Would he stop him in the 12th?
11th, I think it was. 11th? I think it was 11th, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was the 12th, but I could be wrong. But he stopped him late. So
yes. And
the reason why he stopped him late, I think, is because he wasn't able to press the whole 12, because I think his stamina, he looked tired in that fight.
Yeah.
He had his mouth open. Okay. And he was in there with a wounded animal fighting with his mouth open.
Yeah.
And again, cannot argue. Won the fight very decisively.
Yeah.
But the guy was way past his prime. No disrespect. I'm not trying to diminish the win, but I'm calling it like I see it. Way past his prime, and had a torn Achilles tendon.
For sure, way past his prime. For sure.
Had a torn Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
And you're fighting this guy with your mouth open.
In the 11th.
Yeah. It looked like you're dog tired to me. That's a problem for me. More of a problem than thinking about his power. I'm thinking about his stamina, his work rate, and the way he takes so much time off during the round. There's no way Santa Cruz isn't going to be punching when he's not punching.
Right. Santa Cruz, round to round.
These other guys, they're intimidated by him. They don't try to take advantage of him when he takes the breaks because they're afraid of getting caught. Now, that's not to say that Santa Cruz can't get sucked into something. But because he's got such a quick, effective jab, he can offset Tank better than these other guys did and keep Tank occupied, where possibly he won't be able to suck him into anything because he won't be able to get set.
Yeah.
So
that's the good thing about this fight is, for both fighters, I think we're going to see a star. The fact that this is a pay-per-view fight, and I think this is a worthy pay-per-view fight too.
Yeah.
A star is going to be born that night.
Yeah.
I really think so. And Tank has been on this course, But listen, if Leo Santa Cruz wins, who's going to be more popular in Mexico than that guy? You know what I mean? That guy it's going to be huge.
The most bizarre thing is this. And I don't know if this is just bravado or if it's just BS. But ever since Teofimo Lopez won, you got Tank calling him out. You got Ryan Garcia calling him out. And you got Devin Haney calling him out.
Yeah.
None of these guys wanted any part of Lomachenko. How ironic is that? They never once called him out.
That's how it always is.
So what do they see in Teofimo that they didn't see in Lomachenko?
Yeah. That's the thing. When a blueprint's laid out for you, and then it's a different story. But then somebody's got to lay out the blueprint for you. That's what made Teofimo's win so impressive last week, is that he laid the blueprint out. Somebody didn't lay it out for him. He laid the blueprint out.
Can Tank beat Lomachenko now? Can Devin Haney beat Lomachenko now?
Devin Haney, I always thought could beat Lomachenko. No question about it. Notorious VC, thank you. And I agree with you. The caller talking to some chick while on hold isn't running for caller of the year. That's OH, baby. That's how he does things. He likes the ladies. What are you going to do? I always said Devin Haney could beat Lomachenko. I think Devin Haney is the best guy out there right now.
Devin Haney could beat Teofimo as well.
I think Devin Haney beats Teofimo Evie.
Okay.
Also, excuse me.
Okay.
Could Tank beat Lomachenko? I never thought Tank really had a good shot against Lomachenko.
I thought
depends on how Lomachenko takes the loss.
I always thought Tank could beat Lomachenko.
Yeah, to me, it depends on how Lomachenko takes the loss. To be honest with you, does he come back the same? Does he come back at all? Does he? Who knows? Who knows?
Well, here's the thing. He got operated twice on this shoulder now.
It ain't good.
It's hard for me to envision him coming back better.
He's got almost 400 amateur fights.
Yeah.
15, 16 pro fights. Not against like high level opposition. Every one of his fights just about was against high level opposition. Champions, former champions. Listen, I mean, he's got a lot of miles on him. So it's going to be tough.
Do you think he did himself a disservice by staying in the amateurs as long as he did? Do you think he took away from his pro career? I do, but that's
maybe not. I think hindsight you could say that, but if he didn't stay in the amateurs that long, is he that good of a pro? I don't know. 2 gold medals, man. You've seen every kind of style you're going to see. I mean, literally every type of style you're going to see. And he won. I mean, the accomplishment that this guy did, 2 gold medals is, I mean, it's unheard in this sport.
It's impressive.
It's just nuts.
It's impressive.
We had Rasheed Warren. What did he go to the Olympics 3 times? Couldn't bring home 1 medal. You're talking about a guy couldn't bring home a win. And you're talking about a guy who brought home 2 gold medals plus multiple world championships, and the guy didn't lose, man. Yeah, even if he didn't, I mean, he still made money in the pros. He still won 3 different titles in the pro. I mean, it's huge. It's hard to say he did himself a disservice, to be honest.
Okay. I would have liked to see him turn pro earlier. I think that having so many amateur fights, I think it took away, in my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. I think it took away from his development as a pro.
Well, I remember talking to Rasheed Warren about this too, and he said, because I said, why didn't you go pro earlier? Why did you stay in the Olympics, in that system so long? Why didn't you go pro? And he said, quite simply, there wasn't any money any real money there. There was nobody to fight there in his weight class. It's not like he was in welterweight or anything. He was a light guy, and so was Lomachenko, and maybe that played into his thinking as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the news here. Tyson Fury says he'll definitely be fighting on December 5th. He made an announcement via social media that he'll fight again on December 5th. Quote, "Hi, this is Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, and I'd like to announce I'm definitely fighting on December 5th in London in the UK. Opponent will be announced very soon. Just working on some opponents. Let you all know who that's going to be very shortly." You know what? Good for him. Good for him. Listen, Deontay Wilder and Shelley Finkel are saying, "Oh, he's going to fight you anytime, any place." Good. Go to London. You got a date now, December 5th. You got to listen. And the contract, and you were telling me that you read somewhere that the contract expired in October. They were still going to give him the fight. They didn't have to. They weren't obligated to. They were going to do it because it was the right thing, and he didn't show up. Not much you can do about that, son. Not much you can do about it. He's given him every opportunity. He didn't take it. So rather than be inactive, listen, whoever he fights is okay with me. That's the way I feel about it. As we mentioned too on the show earlier, Lomachenko and Lopez received over 4 million viewers. The Nielsen ratings for Loma and Lopez on ESPN were awesome. The fight got about 2.7 million to the Nielsen ratings, okay? But those ratings don't take into consideration how many people watched it on the app or ESPN Plus. That was about 1.5 million, which brought the total to around, Beeb, drumroll, 4.2 million views. Insane.
That's why it's hard for me to rule out a rematch. And I think Bob will talk. I think Bob can talk both of these guys into a rematch.
I tell you, from a business standpoint, how do you argue with that?
Because you're right. He won't be able to fight the winner of that fight with the at 140 because, like you said, they got the Cantrell guy. I think what's his name? He's got to fight that. The winner's got to fight that guy.
Devin Haney. Devin Haney's in a different organization.
Devin Haney's got his own fight with Gamboa, and then plus he's with the zone.
Yeah,
The
that's
easiest
why I
fight
say
to
he's in the
make.
zone. It's the easiest fight to make.
Yeah.
And even though I don't really want to see the rematch, I don't think there's a reason for it. Listen, a lot of people think so, but at the same time,
I don't hate the rematch. I mean, I don't think he needs the rematch to validate his win, though. It's not like he's a close enough fight where you could say, okay, well, Lomachenko deserves a shot. This fight was close. Although a lot of people disagree with me, but it is what it is.
I tell you what, I don't want to see it. I've already seen it. What do I need to see it again for? I don't see anything that is going to be different in the next fight. I really don't.
No,
I don't. And I like Loma.
I see it being easier for Teofimo in the rematch.
I think so too. You got to look at the body of work in that first fight, man.
I just can't see him being better after getting operated for a second time on that shoulder, and him being older, and just it's the way he was beat up in that fight, like in certain points, like just the body work and stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. He was just, and people say, well, if he would start sooner and everything. Listen, he couldn't start sooner. There's a reason he didn't start sooner.
Wasn't allowed.
I've never seen him that slow starting in a fight. They talked about him being a slow starter. Listen, man, I had never seen him fight that slow.
That jab and those body punches and that right hand were bothering him.
There was a reason he couldn't get started, man.
They were bothering him.
As comparison, out of the 4.2 million, Aram said the Charlo pay-per-view did about 70,000 buys. So that was a colossal failure. And I like the card, but it was a colossal failure from pay-per-view standpoint. 70,000, not good, man.
Did Bob Aram say he liked the card too?
Bob Aram said it was a good card. Yeah, Bob Aram said they were competitive fights. It was a good card. He did. He absolutely did. And I get it that it's going to have less because it's on pay-per-view and it's not free TV. 4.2 million on free TV is amazing for boxing. Bottom line, end of story. That's 70,000 on pay-per-view is not good.
It's not good.
Not at all.
No.
Train wreck of the week. Beeb, this kills me. Terry O'Connor was cleared by the British Boxing Board for using a phone during the fight. We talked about this. This was the guy that had the phone during the Lewis Ritson and Miguel Vasquez fight. And they took a picture of him. He's clearly looking at his phone. Fight's going on. Okay. British Boxing Board cleared him. They said he did nothing wrong. The board concluded the following, quote, following extensive consideration of footage and Mr. O'Connor's evidence supplied, the stewards were satisfied that Mr. O'Connor was not in possession of any telephone or handheld device whilst carrying out his duties as judge in the contest between Lewis Ritson and Miguel Vasquez, and his scoring of said bout was not affected in any way, except that he had a phone in his hand and he was looking at it while the round was going on. And they have this on camera. All right. That's hard evidence of a screw up.
But again, did you hear that they were trying to say that it wasn't a phone, it was a pen and a paper or something like that? Did you hear that?
It was clearly a phone.
Okay, because I couldn't
clearly
really.
A phone.
Could you tell 100% in the photo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly a phone.
Because they were trying to say that it wasn't a phone and it was a pad of paper and a pen.
Right. Rudy Giuliani. And Rudy Giuliani was tucking in his pants, right?
Why would he need a pad of paper and pen? Because they already have the scorecard.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't, right?
You wouldn't. And as a judge, if it was a pad and paper, you're wrong anyway, because you're not supposed to keep score.
90 seconds.
You're not supposed to keep score.
You're just supposed to write. You're
supposed to write it down on the paper and pass it in.
You're supposed to use.
You're not supposed to keep score.
You're supposed to just use the card they gave you.
Yes.
Okay.
You write it. You write your score on a piece of paper and you hand it over.
Yeah, but
somebody else is tabulating the scores.
Well, even if you did have a pad of paper and pencil, that would
shouldn't be doing that.
That would still be a conflict of interest as well.
Right, because and you know why it's a conflict of interest? Because when you score the fight, you may say, hey, I'm giving X amount of rounds to this guy. I'm going to give a round to this guy just because.
Yeah.
That's not allowed.
No.
That's why they do it the way they do it. You write your score on a piece of paper and you pass it forward.
Yeah.
That is erased, and then you go on to the next round.
Yeah. Because then it's almost like you're keeping two separate scorecards, and then you're comparing, like you're like, oh, this is too wide. You're using that other scorecard as kind of like a
balancing. Balance it out. Yeah, maybe I'm giving this guy too many rounds. He looks kind of competitive. That's why they don't do that.
I got you.
All right. And also in another train wreck of the week here, Billy Joe Saunders has announced his next opponent will be on December 4th on DAZN, of course, because they've been stellar this year. Martin Murray and Billy Joe Saunders, Beeb.
Now wasn't Eddie Hearn criticizing Top Rank when they first started putting on fights after the pandemic, criticizing their fights?
Yes.
Now, has Matchroom lit the world on fire?
No, they haven't. And the one difference between Top Rank and Matchroom is Top Rank actually improved.
Correct. And they gave
Matchroom didn't.
They gave us a free fight. And we still don't have free fights on DAZN because people say, oh, it's on DAZN, it's free. And it's not on DAZN. It's not, it's not free on DAZN because you're paying a membership.
Right. Right. That's the thing. It's not free on DAZN. You are paying a membership, and the fights on free are not free on Showtime. You're paying $10 a month for that, Ignacio says, Martin Murray is my favorite fighter. He is. I love Martin Murray. He's one of my favorites, man. He really is. But listen, man, just like anything else, his time has passed. He's got to go. This should not, this is the fight Billy Joe Saunders. Look, man, come on. Really? Come on. Get a shot at Canelo.
It's pretty sad, though. I did have Martin Murray beating Sergio Martinez way back when he fought Sergio Martinez. I thought he beat him.
Yeah, I thought he beat him too. Matthew Martinez says Saunders Murray is a real good fight. That should have happened years ago. That's the point. That fight should have happened years ago, not today. Today, it's not a good fight. Years ago, it was a really good fight. Today, not so much. Yeah, that's the difference.
It's not something that I'd be clamoring for right now.
No, 100% no.
It's not a fight that has to happen.
No. Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, like people are clamoring for this fight.
And again, I do like Murray a lot.
I love him, man. Murray's 38, though.
But he's slowed down significantly.
Of course he has. He's been in a lot of fights, man.
Yeah,
been in a lot of wars.
He's got miles on him.
Yeah, for sure. So what are you going to do? All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. You can find me on Twitter at ringside73. And we will catch everyone next week. And we'll talk about the big fight next week. Can't wait, man. Halloween, baby.
Well, that's going to be a good one.